Arsenal this weekend. What you saying, Jess? You got a chance to go 4 points clear at the top of the Premier League tomorrow. Do you think you'll get it done?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll get it done. Wolves, they're missing so many key players, both of their starting midfielders. They're also missing Neto and maybe like out at Nuri as well. So yeah, we should be getting this done. Like at this stage in Arsenal's like progression, we should not be throwing away points against Wolves at home. So no complacency. Get over what we did in midweek. None of that matters anymore because we need to win this game. Because if Manchester City end up dropping points, that's a really good opportunity for us, and Liverpool are right there. So yeah, we have to win this game. The only way we don't win it is if Wolves get some sort of retroactive VAR decision against us because they've been getting done dirty. So anything that goes against us VAR wise, that is my story and I'm sticking to it. I really am. But it should be like a really straightforward routine win. It really should, if we're on it. Wolves, good side, but they're missing too many components. And really, even if they had their main team, we should still be beating them at home.
These are the games where you need to have a job done performance.
Exactly.
That's all it is. When you want to win these titles against teams like City, you need to just have these. Wolves are a decent side. Wolves have beaten a lot of good teams this season. They've done Man City, and let's not forget that. But when you're going up against these sides at home, these are the type of performances where you just need to go 2, 3, done. And you can almost afford to take players off and focus on the next game. You don't want to just keep the door open. You don't want to be one of those ones where you just keep missing and you keep missing and you keep missing. Because whilst, yes, Arsenal had a number of games this season where they scored late and saved results, that cannot last forever. I think you'd almost need to sit there and look at it and go, we need to get a run of games where we're killing it off early. This Christmas period is a fantastic time to build up momentum. And I know that us two play each other December 23rd. That is what ultimately both our months are building up to. We're not even bothered about United. That'll be a nice, easy win. The month's building up to Arsenal versus Liverpool. Who can be in the best form for that game? And I think Arsenal have a nice run of fixtures for that. If you can just keep building that momentum and start getting some of these results where it's after
definitely
60 minutes, no one's worried anymore.
Yeah, that's for sure. We haven't really scored enough goals in the first 20 minutes. And last season, we were doing that almost every single game. So Arsenal need to figure out a way to do the control thing, but also be dangerous early. And it's been difficult because teams have sat back, but Arsenal just need to figure out a different way. I would imagine Wolves are going to sit in deep against us, but it's not an excuse. Arsenal need to figure this stuff out. And we haven't really had a team like this in a while at home. We've had Burnley and Sheffield. They're way worse than Wolves to me. So, this is going to be more similar, in my opinion, to like the Fulham game that we played at home early on in the season, where it's not the best team in the world or like Nottingham Forest, but we still were not as convincing. Like we drew to Fulham and we beat Nottingham Forest, but it wasn't convincing. I think we need to start getting convincing wins now. 2-0 early, put it away, take guys off, just like Tom said. But, we'll see. We'll see. But we should be winning.
Kai Havertz 3 for 3.
Listen, Cameron's in trouble. Me and Cameron, we have a bet going that Kai Havertz will score or get as much GA as Xhaka. And we're starting to pick up some momentum. We're coming. I'm getting my $100, okay? But yeah, Kai Havertz goal, I will take that.
I think he would as well.
Jess, are you with the notion that people keep saying that Arsenal are not as good as they were like last season? Or do you think, and I don't know, but are you more confident, would I say, this season in that you could really mount that title challenge as opposed to what you were last season?
If I was just comparing the first part of each season, I would say that I thought that last season's Arsenal was better. But I saw the second part. The second part, we couldn't keep goals out. We were terrible defensively. Like for a team that was trying to win a title, it wasn't so much that we couldn't score goals. We couldn't keep goals out. So I understand that we're defensively better. Overall, I think we're about the same, but we're better in different ways, if that makes sense. So for me, we're less exciting. We're less exciting, that's for sure. But this team, the foundation of this team, keeping goals out is much more sustainable than what we were doing last season. What we're doing last season was like we were as good as we were going to be in the first like couple of months of the season. That was it. There was only going down from there. This season, we could actually start getting better. And we saw against like who do we play midweek? Lons, that there is goals in this team. I think people were thinking, oh, maybe the players aren't as good. They are. They just need to figure out how to score earlier. That's the main thing. That's pretty much it. So the foundation of this team is better. But last season at this time, that was better, if that makes sense. We were more exciting, more fun.
You're a much better defensive team right now than you were last season,
exactly.
which is good because defense does win you titles, as Sir Alex said before. But here's what I'm going to disagree with you on something. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I've watched a lot of Arsenal games. Unfortunately, a lot of our games have overlapped.
You watching our games? You're going to give an opinion? Hello?
No. Hold on. Let me re-say this. I've watched enough of Arsenal, but I haven't watched a lot to give a strong opinion.
Okay.
It's because most of our games overlapped. The Champions League, except for this one that just passed, we always play the same time. And even on the weekend, we play the same time. But here's the thing. I feel like when I'm looking at Arsenal, even if Havertz starts picking up and he gets more goals, I do think that the chemistry he has on that left-hand side has majorly affected Martinelli. Because I'm not sure how much GA he has this season, but last season he had much more GA than now. So it's kind of like you're getting goals, even if he gets, what was it, the 7 and 7 GA that Xhaka had? I'm pretty sure that's what he had. Let's say Havertz does get that, which I don't think he will. How much did you lose from Martinelli because he's not really having the same chemistry that he had playing with Xhaka? Now, I agree with you when you say you need to be scoring early, but what happens when you don't? Because I don't think you should go, especially that you're going to go a little bit further in the Champions League, which is something that you haven't done in recent years because you really always benched your team against Europa League sides and you just haven't been in the Champions League. Once that happens, I don't think you can be playing games to 90 minutes every time to get a win. You're going to have to do what City have been doing in recent years, which is why they've been very successful, is putting teams away early. If you don't do that, then we need to have another conversation. Because, as I said, the season is very long, and if you're trying to compete on both ends, you're going to have to reserve some of that energy by putting teams away early, and then let's go on to the next game, 60 minutes, take our best players out, rotate, and then we go again. So that's the one thing that I'm going to be looking forward to with this Arsenal team to kind of see, listen, can they be serious and can they win something or not? That's all it is. And that's no Arsenal agenda because I know the minute I start speaking, I see people in the chat. Oh my God, here he goes again. Like I don't know. I'm gonna put this picture away so I don't scare you guys no more. The Van Persie thing, but relax.
I agree with what you're saying. I do. I think changing the left-hand side has affected Martinelli for sure. He also had some time out, like he missed a month with a hamstring injury. That aside, when everything around you changes and the dynamics of the players around you are not the same, it messes with you. So, but I do think that you have to give players time to adapt, and some players take longer than others. I think with Declan Rice being so good so early, it made people really panic about Kai. There was already anxiety about Kai, but because Declan Rice just like hit the ground running, it was like, oh my gosh, this isn't working. You have to give players time to adapt, period, to a new setup, new team, new environment, new everything. And against Lons, that was like the first time that we actually saw Jesus and Havertz and Martinelli play well together. So I'm expecting that to continue. If it doesn't, we have a problem because we don't have a player that can play on that left-hand side that really makes Martinelli tick. Martinelli he may not have gotten an assist, but he could have scored like 3 goals against Lons. So I'm expecting it to continue, but it's true. Like Arsenal need to figure out a way to break teams down early because right now teams feel like, okay, well, if we do a deep block, it'll take them until like the 80th minute to score, or it'll take them like a set piece for them to score. That's not good enough, So I agree that we need to figure out a way.
It's easy to figure out that way, though. Speaking from how we used to play that mad attacking style, but you only are able to take that next step when you secure yourself defensively first. And our goal scoring numbers and our style of play took a major hit in terms of how people looked at it. We went from winning games like 5-2 to 1-0, but that's what's needed. Arsenal have one of the best foundations, one of the best cores in the Premier League. ignoring David Raya, who I don't really rate, but he does a job. Gabriel, Saliba, Rice is a triangle in that middle, is arguably as good as any in the Premier League in terms of the quality and the chemistry. The one thing you've just got to figure out is how you're going to get your wingers back involved in the middle of the park. So I feel at times when Arsenal come against a low block, it almost ends up with, because you do too much at the back and says too much controlling, you end up in situations where when you're trying to attack, Martinelli and Saka are almost tasked with like ISO plays in basketball where they've got to go one-on-one or one-on-two with a fullback and a defender, and there's no support from Odegaard or Havertz or
our eights aren't
in that
involved.
midfield. So
our eights aren't involved. Like, we need to transfer some of that like playmaking from our defenders to our eights, and that's where Odegaard is so important, because I don't think that he's had a good season so far. He's my favorite player, but I'm gonna tell the truth when I feel it. He hasn't been as good because he's not getting on the ball in central areas. He needs to take risks and get in between the lines and get the ball, because when he drags players away from Saka, then Saka's more open. Saka's already double teamed. You know what I mean? So I think our main issue is that our eights haven't been as effective. And I think sometimes it's just about doing it yourself. I don't think Arteta's sitting there telling Odegaard, don't get on the ball, and Kai has been afraid to get on the ball. So yeah, that's why Martinelli and Saka are doing so much work. It's about balance,
Yeah.
But sometimes that takes time.
On Kai Havertz, a super chat here says, I said at the start of the season, Kai Havertz would get 15 GA in all competition. I saw Mikel Arteta's vision. Arteta in since 2019. I stand on it. Is Kai Havertz... I don't think... Look, I said it on the stream the other day. Kai Havertz is never going to be Zidane. He's never going to be Bernardo Silva. That's not him. Is what we've seen in the last couple of games, him arriving late in the box, scoring goals. Is that what we should expect from Kai Havertz at Arsenal moving forward, being someone that comes in and scores 15 goals a year, goals like he's got in the last few games, and just helps the team win matches that way? Or is there still more from him to come? Because I don't see what else. That for me is what I think he is. I think he
definitely has to do more. Like, it can't just be ghosting into the box and getting on the end. No, he has to get on the ball and use his creativity. He's not exactly like Granit Xhaka, but if you're going to step in for Granit Xhaka, Granit was doing a lot more than I think people thought he was doing. So if Kai thinks he can just ghost in the box every once in a while and that's it, that's not enough. Then we're missing a whole midfielder then, So he definitely has to do a lot more. What we saw against Lens was probably like 30% of what we're going to expect from him. We still need to see a lot more, but he definitely has that ability to get those runs in the box. He definitely has good movement and he can anticipate. And that connection between him and Jesus, I think it is going to get stronger, but he needs to do more. Period.
I think he's going to get GA. He's going to get more GA than people expect. But as I said, I mentioned Martinelli earlier for a reason. I think Martinelli has been a little bit deeper than where he was last season, which is why I'm saying even if Havertz gets the GA, Martinelli's still losing some GA on the other side. So it's not like you're getting more goals just because you brought in Havertz and he scored goals, because he took these goals from someone else. And I think Martinelli being a little bit deeper has been affecting him this season. Because last season, we know Martinelli, he's a very direct player. You give him the ball in space in the final third, he'll do something. He'll go to the byline, find a cross, or he likes to shoot. He'll get his GA. The thing is now with Havertz kind of being that guy who crashes the box to get the goals, and he's not really as hardworking and defensive as Xhaka was, someone has to make up for that. The only person on that side that can make up for that, who actually has that ability, is Martinelli. So it's kind of a situation where now Martinelli's losing some of what he did last season. Or I wouldn't say losing. He has to sacrifice a little bit for what he was doing last season for the greater goal. And the greater goal is to be winning football games. If Havertz is the way you win these games, because he has a more offensive role than Havertz, than Xhaka from last season, and he's been made up for his defensive liability by Martinelli. Then that's the only way I could see it working. I don't think Martinez is going to get the same GA, but you're going to add 15 goals from Havertz on top of that, and you're going to score 15 more goals than you did last season, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
I hear where you're coming from. This super chat here says we are coping much better with injuries we have this season and picking up points compared to last year when we were missing key players, is what George says. It's Kai now, Jess. Yeah. Say less, big up the panel is what Don says.
I swear, Don surfaces out of nowhere the minute Havertz's word is being
Wait
said.
a freaking minute.
The minute you hear
here.
his name.
What is he trying to say? Because I'm saying it's Kai now. I told him from the beginning that I understood what Arteta was trying to do. So don't come for me, Don. Don't come for me. I know you hide too. You should have been on this panel. Okay, no Chelsea fans. I see you. Hide.
I'm gonna see Don on Monday, by the way, right before the Chelsea game, because I have a few things to say to him.
There we go. This year says last season, Arsenal would not have sustained competing at the highest level in the Premier League and Champions League. New Arsenal is getting the necessary muscle memory to keep clean sheets and be ruthless in taking chances to be ready in the running. I think there's a lot to be said about that. I sense Lee Gunner raging every time he hears Kai. I love it. I love it. Arteta changed the pattern of play for a reason, and it's no coincidence that he's looking to sign Luis or the likes of. If we get that midfielder in January, I'm sure he would switch the play again, is what AJ says here.